Yes, sir.
We believe the original Unstoppable was a pretty strong piece of work in a collection of songs. The reception, as far as we're concerned, didn't have much to do with the quality of the content. Probably had to do more with the timing, probably had to do more with PR conversations, probably had to do with the marketing and the promotion, of the project. So about 2009, when we officially reconnected in management terms, the idea was to identify the best way forward with the music.
By 2009, the Unstoppable album itself dropped. I was going to interview 2Face in Festac, so I bought the CD in traffic, as you would back in the day, and played the CD on the ride to the house at Festac. And I thought to myself, well, this is actually a brilliant album. This is a brilliant body of work. And that actually got me into conversation with 2Face about, look, I'm not sure what's going on with your PR, but I'd like to handle your PR. So fast forward another year, I got the job as the PR person. By now Music had taken over management of 2Face's career. So we had a sit down about, okay, what do we do? Because we've listened to the body of work, there's nothing wrong with the work. So apparently what's wrong is with the image. The image of 2Face had taken a battering.
Some people of the belief, they're not from our team, that okay, let's do a new album, let's rebrand him, let's do this. But us at Now Music then felt like, what was the problem with Unstoppable? Why are we running from Unstoppable? Is it that the songs were not up to par, or there was something wrong with the art itself? Yes, most times you can't separate the art from the person, but artistically, was the album bad? Is that why we're trying to move away? Or is it that there was a PR problem with the person doing the art, and we concluded that the art wasn't the problem?
We thought it was a pretty strong album, and in my opinion, moving away from it would be like tacitly admitting that, it was unsuccessful, and we didn't think that work deserved to be unsuccessful. We also did not think that it was good for the brand to release an album within that space that would be certified less successful than people would have, fans would have loved for it to be.
We couldn't reissue the album as it was to say, okay, we dropped an album 2 years ago and there was nothing wrong with the album, come and listen. So what did? We updated the album and called it International Edition. Took some songs from the Unstoppable, as it were, and did some new songs.
Them are writing stuff about me. Most of them I know, there's only one destroying me.
First of all, the brief was interesting in the sense that they told me it was called the Unstoppable Edition, the Unstoppable, and it was the International Edition, because I knew there had been a, So initially, there was supposed to be a pressure, I thought, to do something that was going to go international. And I wasn't exactly sure why Ifeoma Morogbe wanted me to shoot that, but while I wasn't sure, I knew that it was something I definitely wanted to do, and he was also very sure about it. So the question is, how do you make this timeless? How do you make this something that anybody sees in the world and, they can reckon with? And for a photographer, for me at the time, those are the kind of work that you want to do, legacy work. For an artist like 2Face Idibia like we knew him then. He wasn't just a superstar. I mean, this was like a definition of Nigerian music and still is. So the first thing was having me convince, the label that it should be shot black and white.
Nobody's supernatural. Life versus spirit of the carnival. The personality, no matter at all. Individuality cannot make us stall.
I got a call from a guy that he had a video that he wanted to shoot for Innocent. I had not shot his video before. We worked together for the first time on Styly. Then Solid Stars 1 in a Million video. Erindisha Waterfalls is where we went to shoot. I think I was in awe of the fact that a couple of years back he had when he had been shot, and he was agreeing to actually go on a trip with us. We had cops, they fired in the air. You could tell that he wasn't comfortable with that at all. So by the time we were doing Only Me, we had already had built some sort of relationship. If I was to pick a moment, it would probably be on the boat when he first came, right? Because it was just really cool, and we got on the boat and we were shooting and we could zone out, because I think I shot it with the Canon 7D. So it was me, him, everybody else was at the back. But if you're in the middle of the water at that point, when the tight shots of his glasses with the reflection on it, he almost felt like he had zoned out, and I zoned out with him, right? That probably be it. So it won't be a physical experience. Almost, maybe you could almost exaggeratedly say it was a spiritual moment.
Even before we shot, I said, listen, let's make this in black and white. No colors, nothing. It has to be able to stand the test of time and all of that. And if your Moribe thought it was good, then we started shooting, and even the colors felt so beautiful. And even I wanted to keep it color. We now set the cameras to black and white, so I can't go back.
2Face's first, second, and third album built what everyone calls Afrobeats. Till now, right? Face to Face, then Grass to Grace is the second, and Unstoppable, well, as far as I was concerned, would be a third album. But then, if you think about what the Unstoppable album meant to him, he had, when you start up your career, you get to a place where you get to your apex and people don't think that there's anything else that you have to offer. And then there's a lot of scandals and a lot of things with your life personally, because you've learned a lot, you made a lot of mistakes, and then the people there to persecute you, right? And so it's like they're out with the pitchforks and trying to pull you down. Not many artists are able to come back from that.
Baba was and still is and would always be one of our best exports, from Africa, in terms of music. So being approached to be in a video with him in his song, to me, was a big deal. And then to be shot, outside Nigeria, that's another plus. And I wasn't just there as a video vixen, because in my career path, I don't have any problem with, vixens, but I didn't want to be one. I wanted to be in a music video, but as an actor. So first of all, it was shot by Godfather Production in South Africa. So I just mentioned two big deals here. At the time, Godfather Production was the big deal, was the best, music video production company. So, and then being shot in South Africa. In terms of the story, I love what was done there. I love how we played with multiple character in one person. So in the story, Baba played 3 persons. I played 3 persons, and the 3 merged at some point. There was a scene where all three Tubaba was in one picture, me as well, three of us in one picture, just playing different persons. And I thought that was amazing because at that time we didn't really have much of that. To think that 15 years later, I still show off with this video, show my daughter and say, I was in this video. Did you know I was in this video? I think that's amazing.
From the production angle, there were two major additions, two major collaborators in the creative part of it. OJB Jezreel, God bless his soul, and Jay Sleek. Jay Sleek and OJB had collaborated and worked with, Baba, aka 2Face, prior to that time, of course. The first two solo albums, under Kenny's music were largely, not largely, entirely produced by OJB Jezreel. And on Unstoppable, the original version, Jay Sleek had done some collaboration work with 2Face before. So there's a tested chemistry to bring those guys back into the fold to say, okay, we want to make a bunch of new materials, and we'd like them to work, with the artist. Was not a very difficult decision to reach, and the timing was right. They were ready, they were available, and they got together, with a bunch of writers and co-writers working alongside 2Face. I'm sure they delivered fantastic results, as we all can attest to.
And 2Face, anytime we get on the project or anything we're doing, in regards to music, it's seamless. We mesh very well, so it wasn't really hard to get him to respond. I was coming up with ideas that Nigerians are not used to. The music industry is not used to it, so I really liked the fact that he was okay embracing my ideas. That was a changing moment for two of us, and also the industry as well.
This was also an album that defined a way that our music would be collected. It will be held. The kind of CD they make, the package, and all of that. So it was a lot that was in one space. It was even beyond the artist. It was about the entire music industry. And at the time, it took an artist like that to take that kind of, bold step. And Take It Back was interesting because, in fact, there's one very interesting thing about Take It Back. I remember I particularly had an assistant, on the Take It Back video, who later became a famous music video director, Patrick Ellis. And he came in where he wasn't, and I remember I even saw him a few weeks ago, and I think was it last year, again, we're talking about this, and I think he sent me a picture he had taken from that moment. And it just speaks to the amount of work that a lot of people had put into that whole space.
Shot for the boat for a while, then we got off the boat, and then we shot. There was a church that we had seen, because I hadn't recce'd the location. I didn't know the location. I just got there and just started picking where we were going to shoot. So it was really raw. So we shot by the church, and when we finished shooting by the church, it was a wrap. Got back to the office, edited, and the video was flat. So I decided to dissect every single line of the song and shoot something for it. We didn't have budget again. So I started dragging family members, neighbors, got in the car, went outside, shot a couple of things, went through my stock, and took a very documentary filmmaker approach to it. Knowing that I wanted it to say something. I wanted the video to say something, not just be a pretty video that had character. He already had a good looking video with implication. So wasn't going to be that. I also didn't have the budget to be able to shoot implication. My wife didn't give me that. I shot all those cutaways and then I added it into the video. I remember everybody in the office watching it and saying, yeah, all right, we definitely have something now. And then my wife came to watch it, I pressed spacebar and I left because I didn't want to be there when he watched it. And I left for about like 30, 40 minutes. I came back and this nigga was still watching this thing. He would tell them to press spacebar again. After a while, I told them to leave there. I kept pressing the spacebar himself. I got back, he looked at me, had a smile on his face. It wasn't the conversation of, oh, this video is amazing. It's like, can I have the video?
Excuse me, sister, come here, baby. Can you tell me what you gave and how you beat it down? Excuse me, sister, can I ask you?
When I was introduced formally to 2Face by the promoters, and he just said, you guys need to work together. I was very much into hip hop at that time. So everything that I was doing was very hard hitting on the speakers. All my samples were from New York, big kicks, big snares, big hi-hats. So I was fortunate enough to have a friend of mine come into my studio and he dropped off some CDs and he said, this is the music coming out from Nigeria, study it. I ended up doing about 7 to 10 songs before 2Face came to the UK. He turned up in the summer of 2005. I think that was his first gig in the UK, and it was now time for me to present the work that I had put together for him. So the first record I played him, I remember him taking a pad out and he started writing some ideas down for the record. And we weren't in the studio, we were at a barbecue. He was writing some ideas down and he stopped. He said, look, when we get to the studio, I would just put some vocals down and I would just do whatever comes out, we would just take it from there. The following day, he came to the studio and I had some other artists that I work with. Everyone's in the studio. And he just said to me, put the mic on. I didn't understand what that meant. So he walked into the booth and he said, record me.
It was important for us to use the platform of the Unstoppable International Edition, the platform of 2Face, who was and still is one of the most respected, recording artists from this part within that generation. Hypertech Digital, Now Music, industry leaders, all of us, we felt it was important to use that platform to pull people's attention to what was happening to the space, what was happening to the music, to the pricing, to the packaging. So at some level, it was a protest, move that the music was being terribly devalued and people should pay attention.
Management goes a long way in longevity of an artist, staying power rather. You can do what you do. Talent is everywhere, in quotes. We have, the funny thing is that in present now, you keep saying big 3, big 4, big 3, big 4, big 3, big 4. We do not have only 4 artists in Nigeria. We do not. We have numerous artists. More are coming up every day. If you really look at the so-called big 3, big 4, they have structured management team behind them, pushing them. And if you look at them too, most of their management teams have been with them for a while. So it has been teamwork. There has been a plan, a 5-year plan, a 10-year plan, sticking to that plan and moving forward. It's not just a talented artist doing his thing.
What we did with the Unstoppable International Edition showed what good PR is, showed the reason why you need to have PR. Because essentially, once you are building your team, you need to have people around you who know how to, create a narrative around you.
Can I say, I just wanna be there. I just wanna be the one you love. I just wanna be there. I just wanna be the one you lean on.
I remember we were somewhere in Ikeja. I can't remember what happened, and I think if Omorigwe said, "Oh, Inka, we're going to put your name at the back, and and there's photography by I mean, we're talking about a very random industry. I mean, from my experience and my education, I knew that was what it should be, and seeing people who also were thinking in that line, I felt like we were, getting ready to go somewhere. With the whole music thing. So I mean, I think it's the behind the scene, the everything. It was quite a period where a lot of things were not the way it was right now, and I was working with a group of people that made it, knew what the future was bringing, and we were working towards exactly that.
2Face kept his identity as a Nigerian, vocally, lyrically, language, everything reflected his environment. He spoke from his point of view, and he gave me Nigeria. I hadn't been back to Nigeria in a very long time, so he brought me back to Nigeria with that vocal performance. He was unapologetic to who he was. He was proud to be Nigerian, and he made me feel proud to be Nigerian.
Aside Columbia sister, aside Cassie Deborah, aside disobey my mother, come to get plenty wahala. Aside follow Deborah, see commit a disaster, just because say I did.
Every major international release was available in jewel boxes with all the relevant credits and multiple pages, sometimes even with lyrics and all of that. The paper packaging didn't really allow us to do a lot. Really, the lot of credits that were lost, and of course, if you know anything about music packaging and promotion, you would understand that it is very important for people to get their due credit and their credits to be listed, on the actual, products, that people are buying. So we delivered this premium package, this jewel box CDs, not just as a statement of, not only as a statement of value, but as a statement, for credits, for due credits, right? Detailed due credits. There's also the aesthetic, consideration, and there's a whole lot of stuff that it communicated. Once you got this, the least important thing was the pricing, as far as we're concerned, because again, even at 1,000 naira, it was still reasonably cheaper, than some other CDs. Within that whole space.
The media was very, very helpful, was very supportive during that run. So TV stations from Sound City, Hip TV were super supportive. The blogs, Bella Naija, Linda Ikeji. Linda was very, very supportive. Uche at Bella Naija was very, very supportive. The good people at the radio stations were brilliant. Tosin Bucknor, God rest her soul, was fantastic. Onome, Big Time, was brilliant. Everybody from The Beats to Cool FM was fantastic. So I couldn't possibly single out any one media house or any one occasion, but this one thing I can never forget. The night of the Headies 2010, at the end of the year, you know, so he got all these nominations, which showed that all the work we had done, you know, at least, you know, for me at the time, being someone who ironically was an alumnus of, you know, the Headies, I didn't expect much. You know, I just thought, oh, you know what? We got nominated for all these awards. It means we did a brilliant job, and I'm satisfied with that. I was shocked when, you know, he won for Album of the Year. I look down on people that bum rush the stage when an artist wins an award. I was people that day because I bum rushed the stage.
When I got the phone call from FA to tell me that Excuse Me Sister was part of the album to celebrate 15 years of the project, I was grateful. I was very proud of myself. And yes, it's a classic because we started something that a lot of critics said at that time that, oh, it's too international. It's too international. But listen to Afrobeats now. Afrobeats is the music of today. 2Face was 15 years ahead of his time.
And that was Unstoppable International Edition, which at the end of the day, I think kind of proved us right, because the history is there for you to go and check. Unstoppable was what it was, Unstoppable.
As I'm standing here, I want to celebrate it. See, I don't want to regret it. Every single second, I am saying I appreciate it. See, I don't want to waste it. No time to start to negotiate it. That's why I sing.